Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the debate. It's the second part of the David Moyes era at Goodison Park. It's a tough one, this, just looking at all the players. But we ended up last week, end of the 2006-2007 season. This is the 2007-2008 season that we start with, of course. Let's just talk about Moyes' the second half of his reign at Everton. I suppose it was all about moving the team on, wasn't it? Finding consistency, tinkering with the team to get the very, very best out of them. I think by this time now, he is starting to have his own team, getting rid of players, or certainly losing players that winners. So everyone that comes in from that, everyone in this team now is essentially a Moyes player, fits into the Moyes mould, and it was all about moving that on. Who can we get? Who can we get to go into these positions that's going to move the team on?
Yeah, he'd come in it and started his own cycle, hadn't he? The first one was how can he make the current players better, get a shape and stuff. Had some good finish. I mean, when you think we finished, you know, his third season in 4th place, it's incredible, really, when you think of that. But yeah, the team had developed, and then this was, I suppose, the second 5-year plan, wasn't it? He had his first almost, and this was, can we get any closer? And we were just starting to see a consistency, really, in what he wanted to do, and how close could we break into the Sky 4, and could we possibly win a trophy? Could we challenge for a trophy and push on a little bit? Because we hadn't really had cup runs and such under him at this stage so far. We'd obviously had that really good season, then we finished 4th. We didn't follow it up with anything. We had a mid-table, but this bit now we started cementing our place as a team that was spending more time there.
We were then where we'd love to be now. You know, bobbing around 5th, 6th, trying to push on, trying to find what was needed to kick on. And it's funny because when everyone talks now and they're like, oh, that's the 6, or this is the 4, or you only have to see how much movement there was. You know, Man City were nowhere near the party then. Spurs were, finishing in the bottom half of the table. There really was, a chance, and it was all about grafting onto the team. It was all about, the likes of Weir and the likes of Stubbs being replaced by better players. Tim Howard had come in goal. It was about finding replacements for the likes of Nuno Valente and in midfield, the strikers. It really was about just adding better players and seeing if those players could fit into David Moyes' way of playing, or even if they didn't, being enough of an X factor where you could have maybe 9 players who were willing to all fall in, which they did with the likes of Arteta and Cahill, who we mentioned last week, Leon Osman, players like Tony Hibbert, whether you loved them or you didn't like him, just having those players who you could rely on would give you everything, and hope that those extra little touches would. The thing about people like Tony Hibbert is Moyes knew he didn't really ever have to replace Tony Hibbert, or if he did have to replace him, it would be like if you're going to go out and buy a boss right back, that would be maybe a luxury too far. But other players, we were lucky. But some of the gems he found. I mean, just coming into this season now, the players that we brought in, the top players. I mean, this was an incredible summer. Phil Jagielka came in on the 4th of July. Pienaar came in on the 24th of July from Borussia Dortmund on loan. Leighton Baines came in the 6th of August from Wigan. Yakubu came in on the 29th of August. Gravesen came in on loan from Celtic. Dan Gosling came in. Then you've got players like McPartland leaving the club, trying to move players on. Manny Fernandez coming in the January. Like real real talent there, absolute real talent. You know, that made the team better. Or you know, you Jags, you know, still here 11 years later, still here. You know, Baines, 11 years later, still here, still putting in consistent good performances. You know, Yakubu adding that little something that we'd never really had under Moyes. Haven't really had at Everton for a long time. You know, and people like, even like Gravison, just bolstering the squad with people like Gravison.
Yeah.
You know, going into the next summer, I mean, Pienaar signed permanently. Andy Johnson coming in 6th of May. He came in.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's when Andy Johnson left. Sorry, wasn't it, to go to Fulham? Was that when he left?
He played at Yakubu. Yeah, he'd come in the year before.
Sorry, yeah.
No, they got rid of Johnson.
Sorry, got Johnson going. Stubbs going. Carsley going. So we're starting to see that turnover. Andy Johnson would being a player, you know, who was willing to, who had the legs, but with Yakubu, sorry, they were given a little bit more. A player who almost like an amalgamation of all those players. All right, wouldn't do the running all day for you, but because of his hold-up play, you could give him it and get the team up the pitch. So, but and also knew where the back of the net was.
In that, particularly that 7-8 season, that Everton side, you know, we'd have Johnson, Yakubu up front.
Yeah.
But Johnson would play wide, and you'd have Vaughan and to be coming off the bench. There was 4
in the European run.
In league games, I remember we beat Birmingham at home 3-1 in one of the games, and he took Yakubu and Johnson off and put Vaughan and Ichibi on, and it was like, yeah, you've just had them to contend with for 75 minutes. Now you've got these two who were going to run everywhere, and it was, you know, it was a real thing.
It was a changing of the guard, wasn't it? Like, it was a real changing of the guard. But it was also, I think it was also, like we mentioned, it was also Moyes playing about and finding out what worked. You know, that season was probably one of the best seasons in sort of the modern era that I can remember. It was, you know, going to, you know, having those options off the bench, having you know, as you just said, if those weren't working, bring James Vaughan on, bring an Ichibi on, something different.
Power and backing in, and it was just
having a midfield of Pienaar, Cahill, Arteta, Osman at times, Carsley sitting
later in the season, Fernandez.
Yeah, Carsley sitting in behind, or, you know.
And we were quite close to that top 4.
Yeah,
that was the thing, is that we were, you know, that season 7-8, we win 11 home games, scored 34, conceded 17 at home, and away from home we won 8 away games, scored 21, conceded 16. You know, so we ended the season on 65 points, which is 4 more points than we got when we finished in the top 4. Ironically, you know, we finished 11 points behind Liverpool, who were 4th, but 5 ahead of Villa. You know, and we were such a good, that season, we were just such a good side.
We had the likes of Lescott in there, who obviously had come in from Wolsey before, and it was a basis of a team. And you had Lescott was playing left back, Baines was on the bench. There was a real, you know, like a proper squad of players who, you know, would back up, especially with that European run. And I mean, this, you know, what annoys you is it was real Everton, that, because we had that team, and then the following season you want to kick on again, and we're bringing in the likes of, like, well, we brought Fellaini in, but then we're having to play. But obviously we brought Fellaini in late, sorry, but we brought players in like Castillo, Jakobsen. You know what I mean? Like real, just average players.
Didn't have the money, did we?
And then we went out. Obviously, we brought Fellaini in on the window. We brought Joe in, and obviously Nuno. At the end of that year, Valente went, and Van der Meijden, and when we got to the cup final. But it was that summer. It was like you wanted to build on it, but you couldn't build on it because. So every time Moyes wanted to go for, there was like, obviously those couple of summers with AJ and BT and Yakubu and those kind of players, that had been built on the extra funds.
Yeah.
The extra funds that may have been provided by
other people
that owned high street shops, maybe. So that, then when that dried up, there was nowhere to go, and we couldn't build on that. And that was the great sadness, was that that was the thing, wasn't it? It was like every time we got to that stage where you're like, we kept on building on top of what we'd got, and then that season was almost the peak for Moyes in terms of what he had on.
08, 09 or 07, 8.
7, 8. For me, that was the peak, where it was like, can we go any further? Almost, even with those couple of seasons were almost the peak. It was like, where do we go? Do you know what I mean? Like he kept on building and building and building and building. He was just on the edges of Champions League qualification, and obviously we got to the semi-final in 2009, and it was that, you know, it was about we brought Louis Sahar in and people like that, and it was about, can we go that extra little bit? But there was no money. There was no money to go out and buy those players, and then it was a case of having to sell a player. I mean, you know, for as much as we didn't want to sell Lescott, we sell Lescott, but then off the back of selling Lescott, we bring Heiting in, we bring Diston, and we bring Billy Elettin off. And really, in theory, only one of those players really worked long term.
08, so it was 7, 08, 7, 8. 07, 08 we finished 5th. 08, 09 we finished 5th again.
Yeah.
You know, we only won 8 home games. We're going to win 11 this season. We've won 10 at the moment. We could win 11.
Yeah.
We've won 10, but we won 8 that year. But we won 9 away games. 9 away games. So we finished 9 points behind Champions League. So 11 the year before, 9 this year. So we're closing that gap. You know, you think with a better home record.
Yeah.
You know, we won 11 home games the year before. 8 home wins, 6 draws. That was what done us in. You know, we actually lost 9 games. We lost 11 the year before. So we end up 9 points off the Champions League places. And we get to an FA Cup final.
Yeah.
So that summer, 2009, we've been close to getting in the Champions League. We've been close to winning the FA Cup. You know, and that you look at it and go.
The thing about, I mean, as I say, I mean, we signed Pina on 22nd of April 2008. That was when he signed permanently.
Yeah.
Then we lost AJ, Stubbs, Vessels, Carsley. So I mean, look at that though. Stubbs, Johnson, Stubbs, Carsley. I mean, alright, 2 of them are senior players, but you know, leaders in the squad, aren't they? And then we bring in 2008, Jakobsen, Castillo. We bring in Sahar, Nash, Fellaini. We brought in Joe in the February. Following summer, Valente goes, Van der Meijden, Jakobsen. We bring in Garbett, Mustafi, Anton Peterlin, Cody Arnu, good lad Cody. Then Jolene Lescott goes. So you've brought nobody in. You're losing Lescott, and then around deadline day, obviously we brought in Billy Elettin off Diston and Heitinger, right? Then we bring in Lucas Neal.
He was very good.
Then we brought Landon Donovan in the January. Then Lucas Neal gets off. Then we bring Senderos in. So you can see this is sort of almost like the start of the decline, because the players almost of the squad that were keeping the squad ticking over, we're starting to lose them. We're losing the quality. It's getting less and less because of money. So then we're bringing in Jermaine Beckford, João Silva, Maggie Gay, Jan Muche, Pina goes to Spurs, Eric Dyer goes back to Sporting Lisbon. Velios comes in. Vaughan leaves. Dyer goes back to Swan Lisbon. Yobo goes to Fenerbahce. Beckford leaves. Yakubu leaves. Arteta goes to Arsenal. So now we're in August 2011. Strach, Drenthe, Marcus Hanneman, George Green, McFadden.
McFadden come back.
Donovan comes in the December, January, yeah. Mustafi leaves. Then Darren Gibson comes in. Belia Lettinoff leaves. Sahar leaves. Jelovic comes back. It comes in. Pienaar comes back. And it's just, you just listen to the names. We're just not really bringing in any. Pienaar, obviously, and
well, Gibson was a good.
Gibson
sign.
Was okay.
He was good.
He was okay.
The injury.
Jelovic
was good
for the season.
A period of time.
But
Pienaar
there's just
was good.
Like, it's just, there's no quality.
But no,
Naismith comes.
Stephen Naismith.
But Kale goes.
Yeah.
You know,
no, well, Timmy was.
No, I know, but I'm just saying you're not replacing
no.
players that you've been trusted with. Yobo leaves permanently. Jack Rodwell leaves. Morales comes in. Oviedo comes in. Hitzelsberg comes in. Had come in and then leaves. And John Stones is the last person, January 31st, 2013. But what you can see from almost 2009 onwards is that squad is just getting decline. And this I spoke about this before, about where we are, what we had to do this season. And for me, it starts then. It starts because previously Moyes had been replacing lesser players with better players, but when he got to that 2009 season, for me, he started having to replace better players with slightly worse. And it's almost like what you see at the likes of Southampton at the moment, or some other clubs. You can't, even Tottenham with like their fullbacks, you can't, the minute you start replacing players with slightly lesser players, it becomes a cycle. And yes, don't get me wrong, there are a few in there that were better, but even players that were senior players that you're losing, you're getting diminishing returns on those players. You're losing that consistency. So when you're losing an Arteta,
leadership quality.
Yeah, you're losing an Arteta, and you might go, well, he wasn't as good as he used to be, but what are you bringing in? You're losing a Kale, and you're, well, what are you bringing in? And it's that's for me is where it started going wrong. And to be fair to Moyes, that wasn't really his fault. It wasn't his fault. It was a financial situation, and I think that's clearly why the peak years. That's why we needed to win the 2009 FA Cup, because really they were the peak seasons. You know, we were finishing like 5th consistently, and that was the best he could have ever brought us around that time. If you'd won the FA Cup in 2009,
might have kicked on
a little bit. There might have been a little bit more investment shown in the club, but unfortunately, it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, we'd had 2 5th place finishes, 65 points, 63 points the year later. So 2009-10, we finish 8th, but we get 61 points. So we're still in the 60. I mean, Villa finished 6th on 64, so we were a win off there. Liverpool was 7th. Had gone from 2nd to 7th or whatever it was. 2011 season was 7th on 54 points. Liverpool 6th on 58 points. 2011-2012 was 7th on 56 points. So our points are held, 10 home wins. Chelsea was 6th on 64 points, sorry. And then obviously Moyes' last season, we finished 6th on 63 points, so back up into the 60s. Tottenham finished 5th on
Who won the league? And how many
72.
points were the league winners away from us in that season?
26, Man U, 89 points. We finished 2 points ahead of Liverpool, who was 7th. We were 6th when Moyes left.
How many points behind are Arsenal behind Man City this season? Yeah, I'll get it right.
Arsenal got 57 points, Man City have got 93. So 36 points behind them. And we were 26 behind United.
it just shows you, doesn't it? It really just shows you that
10 behind Arsenal in 4th place.
That shows you where
12 home.
Those seasons we were you know, we were a decent financer away. And we've said this before. It's not even a case of
we didn't even need.
It's clearing the debt. If we didn't have the debts that we had until very recently, which were always the noose round our neck,
we'd have been able to do.
For me, we would have. If we'd had the, I think under Moyes, I genuinely believe this. If we'd had the resources of teams not even above us, teams below around us, I think we would have got Champions League 2 or 3 more times. I think just some of those seasons. I think, look, I mean, you know, one of those seasons. You know, we finish 5th and we get to the
cup final.
The cup. We get 5th and we get you know, when we got beat by Fiorentina and you know what I mean, and they got to the final. You know, you just
got to a semi-final in 08 of the League Cup. Chelsea beat us over 2 legs.
The seasons where the squad was, it couldn't cope with all that many games, but yet it somehow, you know,
see what you're forgetting in 09 is
the start.
The start was poor. We lost Yakubu in November.
Yeah.
And we lost Arteta and Ichibi in the January, and we lost Jagielka in the April.
Yeah. So
we finished 5th, got to an FA Cup final, and we didn't have, certainly 3 of them were our backbone, Jagielka, Arteta and Yakubu. And an Ichibi would have been a good sub. So we could have gone into the cup final with all 4 of them. That Chelsea game's a different game.
Yeah, cool. It's a different game. It's a completely different game with Jags and Lescott. People forget how good Jags and Lescott were at that back.
No, but you're talking a centre forward who scores goals. You're talking a centre midfielder who that season was just tearing it up. Arteta, he was unbelievable. He's gonna be in the in the Spain. Well, England was gonna be in the Spanish team. He's this, he's that, he's the other. They were brilliant, and we had 3 serious injuries that season, and we still got to a cup final and finished 5th. So we were,
and we had, without playing, you know, we had a team with Hibbert playing right back, with Osman.
We started that season with Jose Baxter, 16, against Blackburn, got beat 3-2 at home, and it was things like that. Whereas I always believe, even later than that, but that Moyes was Lukaku away from winning something. If Yak would have stayed fit, I think we'd have won something. I think if Lukaku would have been around with Moyes' team from say 11 to 13, I think we'd have won something, because he had some players there, mate. We had a team 7, 8, 8, 9. It's just, we were even 12, 13.
There was a couple. Obviously, there was the years, like the couple of barren years where we never really signed anyone, and there was like the website with the clock and all that, where we just didn't do any business for like 2 years, and the squad got stagnant, and that must have been hard for them, going every day in training, no new faces, same old. If you got injury, you knew you had to play. I mean, we're talking seasons where like we had no strikers, and Kale had to go up front, and
Velios was our most senior striker.
Yeah, it was like we had you know, real tough times, and this is what's funny, where people forget about this, where the club, the team, the players, they just all and fans, we all stuck together, and we dug in, and there was like a real thing about it. Everyone hated playing us, because we were all driving in the same direction, and all it needed is just, so if a Machiri had come along then and just gone, you know what, lads, keep doing what you're doing, and I'll back you up, and I'll get. I mean, you can understand why Moyes felt like he needed a new challenge. I'm sure Man United anyway would have come, but you can understand why, because for 4 or 5 years he was just having to sell one player to bring another 2 in, but unfortunately, I think early on there was a time where he was just like, well, I don't mind this, because I'm actually bringing good players in. But towards the end, it was like the quality was the squad quality, as I said.
But the frustration must have been there, because he's thinking other teams are going out spending money, and they were making big differences. Remember, Liverpool bought Fernando Torres for 27 million or whatever it was, or 25 million, whatever. And he just took them up like 2 levels. If we would have been able to go and buy, I'm not saying we could have got Torres, but a player like that that could have took that team up a couple of levels. You know, we had good players, a little bit of investment, you know, not ridiculous amounts of money, a little bit of investment would have bridged that gap. We were in there anyway. We were.
That's the most annoying thing, is that we only really fell out of it because of us. We only this is where the frustration comes from about Bill Kenwright. This is where it comes from. This is where the two sides fall on Bill. I mean, this could have been the debate. I know we're doing more on plays, but this could have been the debate. Is that this is where people genuinely can't bear Bill Kenwright? Is because people on one side go, we were there, all it needed was either investment or run the club better. I mean, that was always my gripe with Bill Kenwright. I wasn't one of these people who were like, it's a disgrace that he's got no money. My problem was always, why do we keep signing these shit deals with like JJB or like fucking the food places or, you know, the hospitality? That was always my gripe. My gripe was, go and find someone who can run this club for you and stop fucking selling the crown jewels for buttons, because that's what it felt like to me. I was maybe a bit stupid and didn't see the full picture, but I still feel that. I still feel like bringing Elston in was like a really fucking shit decision, where he should have been looking for someone a bit better, a lot better actually. Whereas the other side of the camp would be, well, hang on, we finished 5th. Bill's giving you everything, and he's doing everything.
But he should have. I think he should have gone and attracted a better board, Bill Kenwright.
But that's my feelings are.
He should have gone and got people who had investors who had money who wanted to come in and be board members. There must be people out there who mightn't have had Mashiri's wealth, but had a bit of money they could club together to give Moyes a little bit more. He only needed a bit more sometimes.
As I said, and we've said this numerous of times, it was all about clearing that debt. That debt was fucking huge around our necks. It really was. You know, basically getting payday loans every year. Don't forget, we hardly used to buy players till August, till like the Sky money came in and all that. You know. But as I say, that's where I think people get the thing with Kenwright confused. I think a lot of people go, well, what do you want him to do? Use his own money? It's not his fault. He's not rich. And I never had a problem with that. I always know his heart's in the right place. But for me, it was always, why have you signed this deal? And it was always, well, we're guaranteed money with that deal. It was like, well, hang on, yeah, just.
But I suppose some of that'll be the attraction moment. What could we realistically do? It's hard, isn't it? I agree. It was
always save a penny, then make a pound.
I think it's always been like that though, because we haven't had the fluidity, we haven't had the freedom of the money.
But then you have to. But then for me, you've got to have people who work for you who are creative enough to be able to go, well, I can attract. I remember other clubs. It was like, I mean, they mightn't have all been good examples because their clubs mightn't have been that good, but there was always like things like, well, so and so have brought in the former chief executive of O2 or something like that, and you were thinking, why aren't we doing that? Like, you know, everyone at the time. I remember like there was a time when like Sir Terry Leary, who run Tesco. And Tesco were doing very well for themselves, even though some of it mightn't have been real, which has come out since. But it was always like, why aren't you going to get him? He's an Evertonian. But I suppose they would have gone, we can't match his salary. We can't pay him that kind of money. I mean, it's the same now. I mean, Daniel Levy's on like £6 million a year at Spurs, and Robert Elston's on probably like maybe 450,000, I think it is, he's on a year. So the disparity's still there. So. But that was always my bugbear, that we weren't doing enough. But as I said, other people would say, no, Bill did everything. He mortgaged his house.
Bill did do stuff, but then he held on too long then, or he didn't try and spread his wings wide enough. You've got it. There's a time where you have to look and go, you know what? I want us to be successful. If it was me, I'd have had to go for a few years and then gone, this isn't enough for me. We're doing well. This isn't enough. I want us to win stuff. So I'm going to go and try and get people. If I can't get a rich benefactor to come in and spend the money, I'm going to try and get people who can come in and create that extra bit.
If only Sheikh Mansour had come to us first, the world would be different, wouldn't it? You know, only.
Well, it would, but we can only go on now, can't we? And that's
I know. Listen, but you can. But I think
That's what this is what, when you look back at those finishes,
yeah,
this is what pisses me off when people in the media talk about things and go like, Everton, well, you know, why are you there? And you go, well, go and look at the last 15 years. And 10 of the last 15 years we're in the top 6 or 7.
And what annoys you is the people who are there now, the likes of, alright, Chelsea and Man City have had bags of money, right? But we were doing really well without bags of money. We were doing well without bags of money. We had a system that worked. And we were hoovering up quality that maybe other people hadn't looked at. This was Moneyball before Moneyball.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This was, and I know Billy Bean, who's the fella behind Billy Bean. I know for a fact that he has said how much he looked at Everton and has spoke to Everton about it and liked Moyes. Because he's been on like the Men and Blazers podcast a few times, and Roger Bennett's a big Evertonian. There's obviously any chance he can do to bring that up, and he said he looked at Everton, and Everton were almost like the money. They were Moneyball. They were doing it because they had to, like his team had to. But it was that, as I say, it's when people look back and go, well, look at, you know, you could never do what Spurs done. Well, Spurs just done what we did. Spurs just went and gone, well, let's keep adding quality, and that's all Spurs have done, to the point where they look at the team now and you go, where did this team come from? And you look back and go, well, look where it came from. They just bought quality every summer. They didn't go out one summer and buy 8 players. They just bought. But it did. And off that,
off that,
fair point. But that proved that didn't work though. So they just went out and went quality, quality, and then when they sell, they normally reinvest it well, and sell high and reinvest it well. So they did what we did, and Man City did it as well. They just built. Okay, they might have been building on a bit of a grander stage, but he didn't straight away go out and go, we're buying. He's the best. It was like build. But we couldn't do that because every time we tried to do, well, we got to that point, like we just said, around 2009, where it all just stopped,
it was peak,
and the quality just started going. For, you know, you're bringing in people like you in the previous we brought in Arteta's, Kales and Pinars. Now we're bringing in Maggie Gay's, Strachellarsi's, and even people like Sahar. Do you know what I mean? I know he scored some goals for us, but when you're bringing them in instead of bringing the Yakubus in, or bringing younger, it's all just getting reduced, and that's the real shame. That's the real disappointment. And I think somewhere that's been lost, like you said, that's been lost not only in the media but amongst fans as well. That when you take a step back now and look at it and go, if you look at that on paper and go, look at that second half. First, 2007, 2008,
it was,
and then it just went. The money was pulled that we'd been, and it was just like a massive drop off. And any time we did buy, it was because we just sold somebody, and we were very creative, but then you run out of people to sell as well, because if you haven't got the quality, then you run out of those people to sell as well. So it's a real shame. But we haven't even spoke about. So who's your player? Who's your best player Moyes bought in his second half?
Leighton Baines. Yeah, I was close to Pienaar because I think he's just, what a fantastic footballer. But Leighton Baines, for a few years, the best left back in Europe. The ability is unbelievable. Great footballer, still playing now, still important now. Plays a lot of games, doesn't cause any issues. Could have gone to Man U a couple of times. Just a fantastic footballer, and for what was it, £6 million? Absolutely, just an absolute bargain. And the quote and all that. Just a fantastic footballer, and love him, absolutely love him. Still love him, no? Just a brilliant player.
Brilliant player. Obviously had the chance to jump ship as well and never made a song and dance about it, even though he might have wanted to go, and still playing, and still very, very important player, and took time at the club, had a year in and out, didn't really, Moyes didn't rush him, which was a really important thing. He didn't rush him. He had Lescott doing really well at left back. He just left him in there, let Lescott get used to the Premier League by playing in the left back, then eased him inside, put Baines in there. Next minute Baines is playing there, and he grew, didn't he? He grew as a player. Well, at first he seemed like quite shy, and you'd see that because like when there was any like free kicks or anything, he was like, I don't want to. But then it was like, no, I'll have them. Penalties, I'll have them. So it took him a little bit of time to grow into it, but once he did, he's been magnificent.
Fantastic. Absolutely
11
fantastic.
years at the club.
Yours?
I'm torn between two.
Okay.
I really am. Phil Jagielka, 11 years at the club.
That are you going for?
Hear me out.
Okay.
Phil Jagielka, 11 years at the club's been absolutely fantastic. Still a captain, still a leader. Not everyone's favourite leader at times, as in captain, but as a footballer, brilliant. As you mentioned before, 2009, you know, only what, a month before the final.
It was innocuous as well.
In a nothing game
against Man City.
Yeah, and it was just, as soon as you seen it, you were like, that's him. And you just knew that relationship he had with Lescott, Yobo wouldn't have the same relationship. He was too. They knew each other's games in and out. They complemented each other so much, and it was a devastating loss. Just at the wrong time. But he's still in there now. He's still doing the job. But he's not my pick. Stephen Pienaar's my pick because he signed him twice. Nah, listen, I only Pienaar. When you think of we picked him up for £2.5 million. First couple of games he was a little bit off, and I remember going to Sheffield Wednesday in a League Cup game, and I remember watching him. I remember sitting next to my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law was like, "He's not good enough. He's not going to make it." And I was like, "Let him settle down a bit." You know, ever the pessimist, he's not going to make it. And slowly but surely, we just started to see Pienaar get used to. I mean, he was quite small, and you didn't know if he had the pace, and you're thinking, is he going to have enough? But slowly started getting into it, and he wasn't a player that if you kicked, he'd he'd go down because he was brilliant at winning free kicks, but he would never like ride about. He'd just win the free kick, get up and get on with it. And slowly, as he got used to the Premier League, and he was out on the left, and Baines was there, and slowly these two players just watch them click, and it has to be Pienaar because of him, because that relationship was so good, and for all that time, that was, you know, you're talking about him being one of the best left backs in Europe. It was one of the best providers of assists in Europe by a mile.
By a mile, yeah.
And that was the thing. They complemented each other. They could read each other's movement. Now, the only disappointing thing about Pienaar was two disappointing things. One, he left, but if he'd scored a few more goals, he would have been absolute top player and probably would have attracted other clubs. When he went to Spurs, it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. He felt like he was worth more than he'd been offered. You know, he said he felt like he wanted that challenge of going into the Champions League that Everton couldn't offer him. But he said, you know, didn't take him long to realise what he left behind, and sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes people don't know what they've got to come back, and when he come back, pretty straight away when he scored on his debut, but he was pretty much straight back in the groove. It was only disappointing that his last couple of years he was out injured. But what a player! What a footballer! Like just pure class. And I remember when we played Man City. Man City came and they were flying and they had all this and that. And that game we played Fellaini and Pienaar centre midfield, and he was fucking boss. He scored a free kick, and you were thinking, should he be playing in centre midfield more? Because he had everything about him. I remember when he went to the World Cup with South Africa, played number 10, and he wasn't the same player. It just never clicked for him, and maybe Baines was the big influence. And maybe when you seen Baines play for England, he wasn't quite the same because he never had that player in front of him. And they just complemented each other so well. I think that they've got to be together in this. Can't separate them because they've got to be together because they complemented each other so well in the way the style he played. Pienaar would get back if Baines had gone forward. You know,
I don't think Everton have recovered as a team from that left hand side.
But that's because they were so unique. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think when you look at it, the balance.
We've
never had balance.
Can it be replicated though? Because the intelligence of Pienaar with the intelligence of Baines, they fit. They were like hand in glove.
They were fat. I mean, absolutely. I love Pienaar. I've seen him. At Bolton.
I met him the other week.
I'd been on holiday and come. I was in work, yeah. I'd been on holiday and I come home, we played Bolton away. And he played and he was dead clever. Said to me, mate, straight away, what a clever player he is. I didn't know whether he'd be fast enough at that time because it was early days, but we won 2-1 at Bolton, Yak scored and he was dead, his passing was brilliant. And you were like, look how clever he is on the ball. And he just got better and better. And the work rate and them two down that left hand side were just incredible.
I just remember when there was one, it's about skill and it's about like people not doing skill or doing too much skill like Balassi. And I just remember the little thing he used to always do where he'd come inside and then he'd roll his foot over the ball. And once he did that, the defender didn't know what to do because Baines would go right behind him and sometimes he'd go little back one, Baines is through and then he'd get it back, he'd get himself into space and get it back.
Or he'd take it on.
Or he'd take it on and find someone else. I mean, I think his last big contribution, but his Martinez's second season, we played Leicester first game of the season, and that was, I think that was the last time before he got his injury that he was like, he scored and he done Baines put him in and he stretched and put it in, and it was he set someone else up, but it was him and Baines again though. But the amount of times they did that, the amount of times, again, the assist before the assist, Pienaar getting Baines and Baines getting in, the amount of times he did that, it was just, he's criminally undervalued, Pienaar, as well, by a lot of people, a lot of people. Such a good player, and they were brilliant.
Incredible player. Absolutely incredible.
I don't even think this is a either or. This is the two together, joined.
I laugh when people say Arteta was better than him because Arteta was a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he's nowhere near on Pienaar's level.
I think the difference was for me, and I really liked Arteta, but I think the difference was because with Pienaar there was a genuine effect on the game because of Baines, because there was this thing. Dixon, don't get me wrong, when we didn't have Arteta, we were a different side, of course we were, but when you took Pienaar out of the team and then Baines wasn't as effective, and suddenly it was like a Power Ranger, you know, when they all combined. It was like that's what we were though. We were a proper team. We needed all the bits fitted together, and that again, when we talk about the side, when those bits started to be replaced by other bits and those bits not being as good, it just wasn't the same. And no. It's just a real shame, as we said, that like 2009 or whatever, we didn't win an FA Cup or we didn't win a League Cup to really cement that. I mean, if we got past Fiorentina, who knows? Do you know what I mean? Who knows?
That's what we're always the bridesmaid and never the bride.
Yeah.
It needs to change. But
good days, but without having anything to like remember them by. That's why everyone's like, when people go, Nuremberg, I was at Nuremberg, or was this game, was that game. It's because Everton were genuinely boss to watch. It was genuinely everyone pulling in the same direction. Everyone, you know, happy to be an Evertonian, because it was like, we've got no money, but we're doing all this, and we've got players that clearly play for the shirt. You know,
and had ability.
Because if they weren't, Kale would be into them, Arteta he'd be into them.
He wouldn't be playing.
Jagielka, Moyes, it'd start from Moyes, Jagielka, Carsley, you know, all of them bought into it. And when they didn't buy into it, they were quickly found out.
It's just so frustrating. Even Moyes' last season, was it Moyes' last season? Or the year before? Moyes' last season, the Wigan though. You know, at home in the FA Cup, and you're like, a quarter final at home to Wigan
with no one left in the tournament.
You know, Man City.
Yeah, but
you know, you're looking at it going, Wigan, the ground, we just didn't turn up. But the thing with Moyes' team was the week later we had City and we just turned them over. They come back.
Yeah, but it's like when we got beat by Liverpool in the semi-final. We went to Old Trafford the week after and done 4-4.
Yeah, it's just, you knew you'd get a reaction, but it's just, again, you know, Moyes could have won that quarter final. We could have won the FA.
Well, maybe that's the only thing. Maybe we're a little bit like that. We're a little bit like the Spurs team now. Maybe we've got it all, but we just haven't. We just ultimately we just didn't have enough winners because we hadn't won anything.
Yeah.
So, good side, just something missing. But you know what? Fucking hell, to be finishing in like 5th and 6th. Consistently as well. Consistently.
Every year, 60 odd points. Just the consistency there.
Do you have it? Let us know. Listen, it's not about Pienaar or it's about all of them. Jags. Let us know. Jakubu.
Fellaini.
My guy Gay. The Strach.
Anton Peter.
What a player.
Eric Dyer.
Jan Moche. What a
Ashman
game against Man
Barton.
City.
Let
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who was the man for you? See you later.
Stefan Wessels. Peace.
Stefan
From Wessels.